5 metals from 2 countries producing cash flow and profits. Mark, your company Sierra Metals is working in Mexico and Peru. You have 3 mines in production. And as we see here, the Yauricocha mine already in Peru. I would call it your flagship asset. So what's going on? Please give us a short overview about the company.
Well, as you mentioned, we have the Yauricocha mine as our flagship asset. And basically, that's just coming out of a restructuring. And so that's now firing on all cylinders. It's looking very, very promising. We put out our financial results yesterday morning. Basically, we're looking at $15 million EBITDA for the fourth quarter. I think we can continue to see that EBITDA grow along with production and strong cash flow generation.
Great, fantastic. So that was Yauricocha. So what is going on? We see here a little bit overview about Bolivar and Cusi also. What metals are you producing?
Sure. Well, we are a real polymetallic company. So basically we're producing copper, silver, zinc, lead, and a little bit of gold. So we're a little bit unusual in that respect. But basically we have 2 producing assets, Yauricocha and Bolivar, where we'll see very, very strong cash flow generation this year. But we also have a very exciting play with our baby, which is Cusi. And Cusi has always been the small one part of the family, but she's growing up very quickly.
Great, perfect. We come Cusi in a second. From the metal mix, what are the main metals you are producing, or is it a bit equal?
It's almost, we have pretty much the same amount of copper and silver, and then around the 27-28% level. And then we also have around the 20% level, we have zinc and lead. So mainly zinc, copper, silver, and then behind that's zinc and lead.
Fantastic. So I would call this, like the energy metals, because this is all used in e-mobility, e-cars, in hybrid cars, also for solar panels, of course, you use a lot of silver. As you had I would call it a great year still, 2016, but it was also a transition year. What is the guidance for this year? What are you planning, let's say, copper equivalent and silver equivalent?
Well, we produced about 80 million pounds of copper equivalent last year, about 12 million ounces of silver. And this year we're hoping to be somewhere north between 100 to 115 million pounds of copper and about anywhere between 11.5 and 13.5 million ounces of silver equivalent. So a really good 30 to 35% move in our production.
Great. Can you give us also maybe a short idea about the costs, what you are producing?
Well, yeah, basically the corporate costs are probably currently running around the $13 mark, and basically a really strong objective that we have is to bring that cost down. We believe that we can bring the corporate cost down below $11 over time and over the 2017 year. So basically, coming out of the restructuring, we saw our cost structure move a little higher. We're producing basically around $60 per ton at Yauricocha, and we think we can bring that down to about $52 per ton. So a real strong move, but probably the biggest thing to focus on is the costs are important, but the value per ton mined is far more important for us. And as you saw in the press release yesterday at Yauricocha, we improved that by 100% fourth quarter over fourth quarter 2015, and that's a trend which we plan to continue.
So what is the value per ton now, approximately?
Approximately about $150 per ton, $130, $150 per ton, which is much higher than the $60, $70 that we were producing a year ago.
Fantastic. As you have those 3 mines in production, as you elaborated already, Cusi will be, let's say, the future also, but you are also improving on the other mines through brownfield exploration. Can you give our viewers a short idea what is brownfield exploration and what are you exactly doing there?
Yeah, the brownfield is going to play a very, very important role for us. First of all, we have very stable and strong production growth, which will give strong cash flow generation. But second of all, we have this brownfield concept, and brownfield is essentially anything within a kilometer of the mine, of the mining infrastructure. So it has to essentially be able to come into the production schedule within 6 to 12 months. If you look at Esperanza at Yauricocha, the Esperanza discovery in January of 2016, we were able to bring that into production as early as June of 2016. So within 6 months, we had that in production. It accounted for the total year of about 5% production. It'll account this year for about 25% of production. And it accounts now, that discovery accounts for about 40% of our total resources at Yauricocha. And we think we can see a lot more of this at Yauricocha, but at Bolivar as well. And Cusi is a totally different animal.
Perfect. You just mentioned QC. I want to talk shortly a minute about QC because I think that's the little baby which was crawling around the floor and now it starts to walk actually. What are you doing in QC this year? Why does it make so sexy there?
We're very excited by QC and we think we may skip the walking stage. We've had this mine for 4 or 5 years in production and been producing currently at about 1.1 million ounces per year of silver. But what's really happening here is we're reinterpreting, we're reanalyzing the project, and basically we believe that there's a much bigger layer of what's called andesite, which many of the most famous silver mines like Fresnillo, mines in Guanajuato or Zacatecas are producing out of this andesite layer. And we've found the andesite layer below where we're mining currently. And what we see there is just very, very much wider widths and much higher grade material. So we started on a very aggressive drilling program in November of last year. That'll be concluded by the end of March of this year. And we're targeting for some significant ounces and tonnage coming from this exploration program. So from that perspective, we think that we could see a very similar thing happening at QC as we see in what we consider to be an analog project, which is Los Gatos held by Sunshine Silver Mines, which is going to be about a 3,000 ton per day operation, where currently we're producing around 600 tons. So this looks very, very exciting, and it could be 5 times more production and 5 times more reserves. So it could be a very big operation for us.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for the interview, and looks like 2017 is a big year for Sierra Metals, and we keep fingers crossed and hope you keep us posted.
Well, thank you. We're very excited, and thank you very much for your time.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mark Brennan, the president and CEO of Sierra Metals. And you heard it. I mean, the company has a great, exciting year in front of them. The QC mine starts really to walk from 500 tons up to 3,000 tons. So that's like a 5 to 6-fold more production for that mine. And the company is making cash and making profits. That's the most important thing. I'm your host, Jochen Steiger, in partnership with Commodity TV and Dukascopy TV, of course. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye from Geneva.